Hello, 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 hello. This is Britt, your host today with Truth Be Told podcast. I have episode number 13 with Miss Shibivia. How are you doing today?
I am doing good. I'm so happy to be here. Thanks for having me.
So excited to have you all the way in Hawaii. Like, I am so excited. I'm actually jealous that you're still in Hawaii. So I hope you're having fun and you're working.
Yes, absolutely. I am.
Well, today's topic is definitely going to be a juicy one. I'm actually so excited. I've been waiting on this topic to give to the platform. And I just thought that you would be the perfect person to deliver this message to everyone. Today's topic is episode number 13, and I named it 4 Things a Woman Needs from a Man. At first, I said 1, but then I said, you know what? No, this is what a woman needs from a man. So we're going to talk about this today. Before we talk about it, I do want to introduce you to the audience. Guys, she is awesome. She is an entrepreneur. She is a flight attendant from 8 to 5, her 9 to 5. She's doing a podcast host. She's doing so many jack of all trades that I'm going to let her give you all of her attention today and tell us a little bit about herself and what she got going on.
Well, thanks for that introduction. I have to say, when you asked me to be on the podcast, I was a little bit nervous. I was like, okay, I'll do it.
Why are you nervous?
Just a little bit, but it's fine. But my name is Shibivia. I'm happy to be here. Shibivia is one of my middle names, but I mostly go by that. Shanice is my first name. As you mentioned, I'm a flight attendant, pretty much full-time. Technically not a 9 to 5. Being a flight attendant, it's a different type of lifestyle. It's a whole different lifestyle than the average 9 to 5. But I love it. It keeps me on my toes, and every day is different. That's what I love about it. Every day is different. You meet different types of people, all of that good stuff. It's definitely different from when I used to be in corporate, being at my 9 to 5 job and all of that.
Do you miss corporate? Because I'm still in corporate and I'm ready to get away from corporate. So I'm like, I'm jealous because I'm like, oh my gosh, she gets to fly and go different places. And I know sometimes that probably can get tiresome, but then sometimes also you get to network and meet different people.
That is correct. I wouldn't really say that I miss corporate. What I would say that I miss mostly about it was the connection or the relationship that I had with my members. I used to work for a major credit union, and I built some really great relationship with the people that did business there. So that's one of the main things that I would say that I really miss about it. And yes, it does get tiring sometimes flying a lot. It's just a whole different game. It's like traveling makes you tired. Like, it makes you really, really tired. A lot of flight attendants, once they're done flying, they get to their hotel room. All we want to do is just sleep, and block the world out. So it can get tiring and it can get lonely as well. But there are pros and cons to it. You just got to make the most of it. So
right. How do you balance that with the babies and the hubby? How does that work? Balance life?
I don't have no babies.
Oh, okay.
I don't have no babies. Just the hubby.
The hubby. Wow. So that is awesome. That's the way to be. That's the way to be. That's the way to start it. And then if you guys decide to have kids down the road or whatever you decide to do, to each his own.
Exactly. So that's why I love taking him on trips with me sometimes, especially if it's like a weekend or it's a long layover, like 24 hours or more. I love taking him with me so we get to spend time together.
That's awesome. I really just appreciate you taking the time. I said I didn't know what time it was in Hawaii. I know over here it was 3:30 when we started, and I said, gosh, let me hurry up and get her so she can go ahead and do what she needs to do to go about her day.
Yeah, that's fine. It's 10:30 now. It's 10:38.
So your day is starting.
Yeah, it's just starting.
Well, let me just tell you, Hunty, that melon is popping. You look beautiful today. Like,
you.
I love it. I love it. I love it.
I appreciate you.
But I just wanted to go ahead and start today from a woman's perspective. What are 4 things that a woman needs from a man? I have a part 2 coming next week. I'm very excited about this topic. But from a woman's eyes, what do you think the 4 things that a woman needs from a man?
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, you hit the nail right there. I believe you sent me some stuff, but you mentioned it was consistency, right? You mentioned I can't remember all the stuff, but maturity, definitely presence, right? When I say presence, not TS, right, but SE, right? Being there, like physically being here for us. Us women, you know, we're different from men, and for or men to be there for us physically, like, you know, being there present for us, that's really, really, really important. It says a lot. We love attention. I mean,
Yes. We
I
are
know.
emotional creatures.
Yeah, for sure. And my husband knows that, and I thank God for him. I thank God that, you know, my husband is the way he is. He's very attentive. He's very compassionate. He gives me a lot of attention. I need that. So God knew what I needed, and he gave me that. So that's
God bring you your provider.
absolutely. And, you know, another thing that we really need from men is consistency. Consistency for sure. And because, you know, a lot of times you can tell a lot from a man when, you know, he says something, like he makes a promise or something, and he doesn't, you know, he doesn't come through with it, or he's not consistent, you know. We can sense that, right? And so we need that. That's really important for us. I know for me, you know, a man being consistent is very, very important for me. Words of affirmation, I know that's my love language. I guess that's getting into love languages, but
that's okay. That's a part of what you feel like you need from a man. I mean, we all are different creatures. Women, whether you're white, black, green, orange, women need that from a man. But I'm gonna back it up a little bit, because what I wanted to say was, in today's society, women are ruling the world. In college, statistics show that 60% enrolled in college are women. 40% enrolled in college are men. So in this day and age, I mean, it's 2022. Guys can be sometimes get intimidated by that, because women are powerful, and, you know, we are everything that universe. I really do feel like women rule the world. That song Beyonce said, "Who run the world?" Yeah, we run the world, because
that's true. I agree.
Really, really. But when we talk about those 4 things, the 4 things that you said, maturity was one. Decisiveness is what I got. You said it was another one. Consistent.
Yes, let's talk about decisiveness, honey.
We're gonna talk about all 4 of them. Consistency, because what I do believe is maturity, consistency, and decisiveness equals strength. And those are the 4 things. If you ask me what I need from my man right now at this age, that's what I need.
Yeah, absolutely.
What is your definition of maturity? Because it doesn't mean, you know, what age you're at. So what's your definition?
I would say maturity, from a man's perspective, is somebody who can really lead, right? Somebody who can really lead his family, can lead his wife. And when I say lead, I'm not talking about like being controlling, right? Like feeling like he has to be in control all the time. Maturity also means that he allows his wife, you know, to lead in certain areas based on her strength, right? Because everybody's different. I personally don't really believe in that there's like specifically like men definitely has this type of role and a woman definitely has this type of role. Yes, in some aspects, right? You know, domestically and stuff like that. But I do believe that sometimes women were just stronger than men in certain areas, and men may be stronger than women in certain areas that society may not, you know, may not agree with. But if that's the case, that's just the case. and you're able to just accept that and work around it, right? So a mature man will be, you know, okay with that, right? And not be, not feel a certain type of way or feel insecure that, you know, his woman is leading in a certain type of area, you know?
That's crazy that you said that as far as being secure. When I think of a man being mature, I don't think of an older man, because I've seen younger men, younger than me, that's very mature.
Right.
And it kind of intimidates you sometimes, because, you know, depending on where you're at in life, you be like, well, how old are you? And he got his stuff together and he doing this and he doing that. And it just brings so much clarity, because I feel like when a woman has a mature man, they can go through different situations in life and take them as they come. They definitely can do that. And then as the guy, even if he's not mature, I mean, at least try to make some progress to it. I think I had a really great role model, Shy. I really did. I had a great role model. My father, he showed me what a man was. And so my standards are very high. I mean, very high. I really look to men to meet the standards, and I look for women. I feel like sometimes a woman can dim her light. And I feel like right now we're at a point that women don't need to dim their light. Women need to set the standards, and guys need to rise to the standards. That makes sense.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. I agree.
When you talk about, we talked about maturity, what about consistency? Like when you think of consistency, what comes to mind when you think of that?
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you this. I remember when I used to court, right? Like before I got married and everything, and I used to go out, you know, with people, date and whichever. I was that girl who would cut people off like this. In that heartbeat, I would just cut you off. Like, you know, if your words aren't aligning right with your actions, then I just know I can't go any further, right? You need to be consistent as a man, as a woman as well, right? And I do believe that that also ties together with your words aligning with your actions, right?
Right.
So, yeah.
And so when you talk about consistency, do you feel like being decisive plays a role in being consistent as well? Do you think the two intertwine?
I think so. I think so. Yeah. And it also intertwines with maturity,
Right.
right? Because when a man is mature, then, you know, then he's decisive. He knows, you know, how to make up his mind, you know?
Yes. And I think when we get to all of those different points, then that makes up the strength in a man. I really do. And when I say strength, I don't mean like physical strength. I
Right.
mean being able to stand in
Yeah.
their truth. Like if something's going on and we're going somewhere, I need to know that this man is going to be able to shield me from whatever it is. And it doesn't have to be physically harm. It could be emotionally harm. It could be whatever's coming my way. I just need to know that the man that I'm courting or the man that I'm with is going to make sure that I feel safe, because I don't know. When I was researching this, I really pulled it from like biblical times. I even spoke to some people that's been married like 20 plus years. I'm always looking at longevity marriages and to see what advice can you give me, because I'm newlywed. I say I've been married 2 years and I never understood. Yeah, thank you. And I never understood that what the bending part of it was when I got married. My grandma used to say it to me all the time before she passed away. She was like, okay, Brittany, you're gonna have to bend. You're gonna have to bend.
What? Sorry, I couldn't hear that.
She would tell me I would have to bend.
Oh,
like,
bend. Okay.
Yeah, bend. She was pretty much telling me that when you're in a relationship, that it's not all about you, that you got, you know, when you get married, you become one.
Okay.
And so she's talking about, you know, give or take and giving and taking it. Sometimes I think that if we just lead with love, like And love, I think sometimes will conquer everything, because
Absolutely.
yeah, because love really is love. Oh my gosh, you know, women, we love unconditionally.
Mm-hmm.
And when we're mad, we're pulling from all those type of emotions. And the man trying to figure out what's wrong with you.
Yes.
And we sitting up here telling what we done told you. The number one complaint that I'm realizing is that men don't listen.
Yeah.
Like, they don't listen. Like, I done told you what I needed. I keep telling you. I'm gonna give you an example. My cousin, he was on Snapchat the other day, and his girlfriend, she was playing Anthony Hamilton song. I can't remember what it was, but she was singing her heart out, Shy. Like, I mean, she was going on and on and on about it. And he was like, man, she's singing them words. And I had to tell him, I was like, she's trying to tell you something.
Right.
She's trying to tell you something she really needs. Like, really. So
Yeah.
it's crazy.
That's interesting that when you were talking about your grandmother, talking about being married and having to bend and all of that. I'm realizing that now. I'm learning so much in marriage. Like yourself, I've only been married 2 years now, right? So yeah, thank you. So, you know, this month basically is our 2nd year anniversary. And I've been learning so much about marriage. I mean, it's definitely not just about you no more. I mean, I can tell you, I loved my single life. I just got up and went wherever I want. I love my married life too. Don't get me wrong.
No,
right?
I understand.
Yeah, I love having my husband with me. I love traveling with him. I love just having that lifetime partner, you know, that person that I can do everything with basically and tell him everything. But when you're married, you have to now think about that other individual in every aspect. You know, when you're going out, you know, buying food, you know, just all these things, you have to think about that individual. And that's fine, you know, because when you truly love, when you love unconditionally, you know, it's not a problem, right? And so my husband has taught me so much about myself. You know I may be going off topic a little bit, but
no, you're
he's
not.
taught me so much about myself. He's basically like my mirror, I like to say. It's like when you're married, right? Your spouse is basically like your mirror because they basically show you up. Like a lot of things that you didn't know about yourself, or you may have known about yourself as well, but they really, really show you up. And so my husband has been doing that since we've been married, but in a good way, in a sense, right? So my flaws, he kind of like highlights that. He reminds me of it, not in a sense where he's being not being rude or anything, or you know, anything like that, but he's loving, right? He does it in a loving way, and he helps me to not be as selfish as I used to be, right? And because so he's so selfless, and so because he's so selfless, I realize that I can be less selfish. You know what I mean? Because he's so much of my mirror. And so that's one of the things that I love about marriage. It just teaches you a lot, you know, about just us human beings, about men, about us women, you know, about ourselves.
Yeah,
So.
it does. It does. It teaches us a lot. I think, like you said, he's showing you pretty much the opposite of you. And that's why you guys are married. That's why you guys are together. That's why God brought you as one, because I think sometimes God gives us what we need instead of sometimes what we want.
Yeah.
You know, through my husband, I really, he taught me to be a little bit more gentle with myself, because I, you know, and just he taught me what I want and he taught me what I don't want. And the more that I'm growing within the marriage and within myself, I'm more confident to tell him, this is what I want, this is what I don't want. But have those conversations instead of disagreements and listening to each other. Because I mean, I could be talking to him or he could be talking to me. And if he can't spit back what I'm saying, or just some type of, like, you know, finishing it up, then I know that you was not paying attention to me.
Yes, I am like that. I am so like that. If you're doing something else, looking the other way, I'm like, you didn't hear anything that I said.
Or if we're arguing, oh, don't get us to arguing, Shy, because I'm like, I told you this. Like, you're not.
Right.
I don't know how many times I got to, like I said, listen. That is the number one complaint with me. And if you just listen to us, and
Right.
I think that us just being two different creatures, we just have to learn what works best within the marriage or within the relationship with each other.
Absolutely. And I feel like that's where communication comes into. And I know it may sound cliche and stuff, but every time it never fails. Every time I ask somebody who has been married, like a couple who has been married for like decades, 20 years, 20 plus years, 30 years, whenever I ask them what works, what has helped to make this marriage work, they always say communication. Mm-hmm. And I'm slowly learning the reason why. A lot of times we feel like our spouse, can read our minds, based on our body language or something like that, or, the obvious signs or whichever. But I feel like it's really, really important to be clear about what you're thinking, what your emotions are, what your expectations are. It's really, really important because we're not mind readers, okay? As much as we may know our spouse and we're used to our spouse or whichever, it's really, really hard to know exactly what your spouse is feeling and what they're thinking. And so I've been really, really learning that because with my husband and I, we may have a little, disagreement or something, and then he may say to me, this is exactly how I feel. Or I may say, this is, exactly how I feel. I would be like, I had no idea that that's how you were feeling. Mm-hmm. In my head, I'm creating all these different scenarios of all of this craziness that you're thinking, or, all of that stuff. But that it's not even close to what he's experiencing and what he's feeling. Right. And so that blows my mind. Like, oh my gosh, I'm over here just making up all these things in my head, and that's not what the man is thinking, So that's why it's really, really, really important to really talk to each other. And I know sometimes men may struggle with that, like really expressing how they truly feel. Right. Sometimes men as well, they're afraid to be vulnerable, but it's important, and it's okay to be vulnerable. Especially in a sacred space, in a safe place as well, which is in your marriage, right? So I do believe it's really, really important to really communicate with your spouse.
No, you're right. You're awesome. I was telling my husband before we had the interview, he was like, oh, Lordy, what y'all gonna talk about? And I'm like, we're just gonna talk about what women want. And he said, all right, now don't get on there and go crazy, because I'm very passionate about it. Starting off as I was a young mom. I got into relationships young, and I didn't know, like I knew what I wanted, Shy, but I didn't bring that out in the relationship. I was too young to even do that anyway. I was still learning me, and I'm still learning me. But now that I'm older, and I'm getting more clarity, and I know like the type of mindset I want and the type of direction I'm trying to go into, it just brings the focus with me and my husband better as far as the communication. Like you said, that's a big key, and just being consistent. That's a big key as well, because if we don't communicate with each other and we don't have those keys, then we're not gonna make it. Like, and that's not what I want. I really do. I always tell him I get scared. I get nervous. It's like, because, I think of when we get older, and I'm like, I always be like, I don't want us to break up, or I don't want the leave before you. And he was like, really, baby? Like, but then I had to learn about non-attachment too, and just learning life. I'm rambling right now, but I don't know. If there's anything else that you can say to the audience, because I know we touched on those 4 key points, what is something that you can say to the younger generation that are learning themselves and are courting as well? What could you say?
Just overall. Okay. That are courting, that are dating, looking to get married?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Okay. I would definitely say, for one, know exactly what you want. right? That's number one. It's really, for me, I find that it makes a big difference when you write stuff down, like you write your goals down, you write your visions down, write down exactly what you want from a man, from a woman, right? And when you write those things down, write it in as if it's already here, right? So it's like you're, thanking God, or I know everybody may not believe in God, but you're, giving thanks that your spouse is this. So if you want a gentle man, for example, you're thankful for a gentle man, you're thankful for a consistent man, stuff like that. Whatever you want, write those things down, right? You want to be clear about what you want. And the reason is, you don't want to go out there dating or courting and, not being sure and not being clear about who you want, right? Because you don't want to settle for, less than you deserve, right? You don't want to settle at all. I can tell you that. And another thing is too, never feel like this person that you're with now, it doesn't mean that you have to be with them forever. It doesn't matter if they're your high school sweetheart, or you've been together with them for 7 years or whatever. It's okay. I know for a lot of women, we feel like we like to hold on to stuff. We don't want to let go. Even if the relationship is not healthy and it's toxic and all of that, we feel like, oh my gosh, I've invested all these years already, so I might as well stick around. That's not healthy at all. Yes, those were 7 years of your life, but don't allow those 7 years to be 17 years of your life. There are other people out here in the universe. I mean, the earth has so many people out here, and just believe and have faith that you will have the spouse of your dreams. You can have it. You just have to believe that. I truly, truly believe as well that a lot of times we somewhat contribute to not getting the spouse that we want, because we already tell ourselves that, some women I know like to say, men are this or men are crap, or there's no good men out here, and so if you already believe that, then guess what? That's basically all you're going to attract, right? You're going to attract the men that seem like they don't care, because you've already spoken that in the universe, and that's what you already believe, right? But if you believe that you are worth it, and that you will have the man of your dreams, the man that you have written on paper, the man that you have prayed to God for, and the man that you have manifested, and whichever, you will receive that, right? So I just really think that it's really important to have expectations, set standards, and realistic standards as well. I know sometimes us women, we want, all of these things, but think about the non-negotiables, right? Okay, I know you want him to be 6'4" and all of that. I mean, what if he's 5'11", but he has everything else, on paper, so that's another thing to consider. But I mean, have fun, when you court, have fun when you date. Don't take it that seriously to the point where it's like every time you go on a date with somebody, you're like, oh my gosh, is this my husband? Or is this the one? Get to know that person, have fun, just let it flow.
Right. So, I love the takeaways that you gave today on the show, to the single women, to the married women, just letting the audience know things that a woman wants from a man. I definitely appreciate you coming on today. Can you let us know where we can find you on social media?
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, it was a pleasure being here. I love the convo. It was absolutely fun. I learned a lot too. I learned a little bit more about you, so that was great.
Thank you.
Absolutely. So mostly you can follow me on Instagram. That's TheFlyShyGyrl, and girl is spelled with a Y and not an I. So that's TheFlyShyGyrl, TheFlyShyGyrl. So you can find me on Instagram. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. We are definitely going to sign out today with episode number 13, 4 things a woman wants from a man. Guys, make sure you like, subscribe, give me feedback, because I definitely just want to hear what you are thinking about these topics. We appreciate you guys, and you got to have a good evening. Thank you.